Nicki makes a lot of cash. Not as much as Michael Dell. Not quite. Not as much. But that's okay. But Nicki makes
Is this entire situation going all the way over Nicki Minaj's brain and her spidey senses as the whole room just laughed at her and she thinks they're laughing?
Young men, you have amazing role models like our handsome, dashing president.
Nicki Minaj has been facing intense public criticism lately, and many people believe her recent choices have put her directly in the spotlight. Conversations around her have been coming from all directions, and now Samuel L. Jackson has added his voice to the discussion. According to him, Nicki may not fully understand the situation she's stepping into or the broader implications of aligning herself with certain political figures. Samuel has suggested that Nicki's involvement with Donald Trump and his political movement could be more transactional than supportive, arguing that public figures are sometimes embraced for optics rather than genuine respect. In his view, this can become risky when celebrity influence is used in ways the individual may not fully anticipate. He has urged Nicki to be more cautious and reflective, emphasizing that public alliances can have long-term consequences. Samuel has long been open about his own political stance and has never aligned himself with Trump, often speaking candidly about why he disagrees with him. Over the years, Samuel has consistently voiced criticism of Trump's leadership style and policy direction, using interviews and social media to explain his concerns. One example frequently referenced is when Representative Rashida Tlaib made strong comments calling for Trump's impeachment. Samuel publicly supported her right to speak plainly, reinforcing his belief that public officials should be openly challenged. In various interviews, Samuel has also stressed that he believes influential voices have a responsibility to speak up on issues they care about. From his perspective, staying silent during major political moments can feel like avoiding accountability.
We were not being represented and not being admired for our beauty. If we felt like that as Black women, why would we want to do that to other women? Amen. Why would we now need to make other people downplay their beauty so that we can feel, no, that's not how it works. I don't need someone with blonde hair and blue eyes to downplay their beauty because I know my beauty.
More recently, public attention has grown as several well-known artists, including Snoop Dogg, Nelly, and Nicki Minaj, have expressed more favorable views toward Trump. This shift prompted many to ask how Samuel felt about Black celebrities taking a different political stance than his own. In an interview with the Daily Beast, Samuel made it clear that his views had not changed. He explained that his opposition is rooted in personal history, describing how his experiences growing up during segregation shaped how he views certain political movements today. For him, these reactions are deeply personal and tied to long-standing concerns about equality and inclusion. This is where the situation becomes especially complicated. From Samuel L. Jackson's perspective, Nicki Minaj's recent political alignment has been disappointing because he believes it places her in a position where her support may not be fully reciprocated. He has suggested that political movements sometimes highlight celebrity endorsements more for visibility than for genuine partnership, which can leave artists exposed once the attention fades. In his view, public figures can quickly go from being celebrated to being sidelined when their visibility no longer serves a purpose. He has warned that loyalty in political spaces is often secondary to image, and that celebrities may overestimate how much influence or acceptance they truly have behind closed doors.
That concern gained traction after Nicki appeared at a Trump-affiliated event in Washington, D.C., where a lighthearted remark involving her finances drew laughter from the audience. While Nicki appeared to take the moment in stride, viewers online interpreted the exchange differently, with some questioning whether she was being included in the humor or positioned as part of the spectacle. Critics argued that moments like this highlight the uncomfortable line between participation and presentation, especially in politically charged spaces. Some pointed out the irony that individuals who once openly criticized Nicki now appear more welcoming as her public stance has shifted, leading to speculation about whether the change is rooted in shared values or strategic alignment. Attention also turned to Charlie Kirk, who had previously expressed negative opinions about Nicki's influence and image. More recently, however, he and his wife Erica Kirk have been seen alongside her at events, fueling debate about how quickly narratives can change when public alliances shift. One of the most talked about moments came during Nicki's appearance at AmFest, where comments she made about beauty standards sparked intense discussion online. Her remarks about perceived tensions between different groups of women surprised many viewers, who felt the framing contradicted long-standing conversations about representation and inclusion in media and culture. For critics, this marked a noticeable shift in Nicki's messaging, one that felt disconnected from the themes she once championed. Supporters argued she was expressing a personal.
Now, black culture is being held captive by influences, songs,
Which
and role
influences?
models. I mean, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on, I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old black.
Perspective, while others felt the comments lacked awareness of historical context and broader societal realities. As a result, many observers believe Nicki is navigating a difficult moment where her words and appearances are being scrutinized more heavily than ever. What some see as confidence, others interpret as miscalculation, making her recent moves a source of ongoing debate rather than empowerment. What is added to the confusion is how sharply Nicki Minaj's public stance appears to have shifted over time. Many fans remember a period when she openly criticized Donald Trump and expressed strong disagreement with his policies, particularly around immigration. That history makes her recent appearances and statements feel like a significant change, leaving audiences asking what prompted the turnaround. More recently, Nicki has appeared to extend her engagement beyond Trump himself to figures within his political circle. She drew attention online after posting a congratulatory message on X to Trump advisor Alex Bruesewitz following his wedding, referring to him as a dear friend. The familiarity of the message surprised many observers, who questioned how close that relationship really was. Critics online suggested Nicki's sudden warmth toward multiple political figures felt performative, while others viewed it as an attempt to build rapport within a new space. The rapid shift in tone fueled debate about whether these connections were personal, strategic, or simply symbolic gestures common in political and.
Dave, Jelani Mirage showed no emotion as the verdict was read. He was found guilty, as you mentioned, of predatory sexual assault against a child. He's facing 25 years to life in prison. In the moments before the verdict, Jelani Mirage's attorney says Mirage felt confident that he would be acquitted of all charges. But minutes later, Mirage's mother, Carol, walked out of the courtroom alone with only their attorney. Prosecutors say Mirage in 2015 repeatedly had with his then 11-year-old stepdaughter. They say he threatened the girl if she didn't comply.
The conversation intensified when people revisited past controversies linked to individuals Nicki has recently aligned with. In Brucewitz's case, critics resurfaced earlier incidents involving people he had worked with, prompting renewed scrutiny and discussion about the implications of public associations, even when indirect. Nicki's background has also become part of the public discourse. Born in Trinidad and Tobago, her identity and experiences have led some commentators to question how she believes she is perceived within political environments that have historically been criticized for their lack of diversity. In this context, comments previously made by Samuel L. Jackson about his own experiences are often cited, not as a direct comparison, but as a lens through which some viewers interpret the situation. As debate continues, one question keeps resurfacing. Is Nicki misreading the dynamics of political alliances, or is she intentionally navigating them with a calculated goal in mind? Given her past statements during Trump's first presidency, many find it difficult to believe the shift is accidental or uninformed. This uncertainty has opened the door to widespread online speculation. Some commentators suggest external pressures, personal, professional, or reputational, may be influencing her decisions. Others argue that the attention itself may be part of the strategy. While none of these theories are substantiated, they reflect the level of scrutiny Nicki is currently facing as her personal life and public choices continue to intersect in the spotlight. As the conversation continues, online speculation has grown more intense. Some commentators believe Nicki Minaj's recent political positioning may be less about ideology and more about reputation management. The theory circulating among critics is that aligning herself with influential figures could be a way to stabilize her public image during a period of heightened scrutiny, even if it means associating with groups that were once openly critical of her. Others suggest the shift may be connected to timing rather than belief. In recent months, Nicki has faced sustained attention across multiple fronts: social media disputes, family-related headlines, and controversial online exchanges. Against that backdrop, her renewed focus on themes like faith, freedom, and conservative values has prompted debate about whether the messaging reflects personal growth or a deliberate repositioning. What's notable is that even longtime supporters have begun asking questions. Fans who once defended her unconditionally are now openly expressing confusion, saying her recent statements feel disconnected from the artist they once admired. When Nicki responded to criticism online, she framed the backlash as a misunderstanding of her new purpose, but that explanation only deepened the divide among followers trying to understand her direction. For some observers, the concern isn't political, it's personal. They feel that Nicki's voice, once rooted in independence and self-definition, now sounds carefully curated. What previously came across as confidence now feels calculated to certain listeners, sparking fears that authenticity is being sacrificed in favor of access and alignment.
That shift has also been noticed within the industry. While no public statements have been made, fans have pointed out that collaborators and peers who once spoke openly about working with Nicki have become noticeably quiet. In entertainment, perception matters, and unpredictability, fair or not, can influence opportunities behind the scenes. Ultimately, the biggest question remains unanswered. What is Nicki Minaj aiming for? Some believe she's attempting a genuine reinvention, while others see someone navigating unfamiliar territory without a clear roadmap. To critics, this chapter feels less like a strategic evolution and more like a public struggle playing out in real time. The uncertainty has only grown as Nicki's online presence becomes more reactive. Frequent posts, sharp replies to critics, and public back and forth with fans have fueled concern that the pressure may be taking a toll.
I think Nicki Minaj has made it very clear how she feels about African Americans in this country, or I don't think she's one of them, obviously. And she should, under Trump's rule, she should be deported, because I don't think, reportedly, that she is a legal citizen here. She is undocumented. And so she has shown her disdain for African Americans. So why are you supporting her? Why are you buying her records? She's also supported, I have lots of gay friends who love Nicki Minaj. Why are you supporting?
Each message seems to invite more interpretation, leaving audiences unsure whether she's asserting control or simply trying to keep pace with a rapidly shifting narrative. Lately, Nicki Minaj's online presence has taken on a more defensive tone. She's spoken openly about feeling surrounded by disloyal supporters, industry pressure, and competing narratives, framing herself as someone pushing back against forces working behind the scenes. At the same time, critics point out that some of her recent alignments appear to conflict with the theme she has raised, adding to the sense of contradiction that fans are struggling to reconcile. For longtime followers, the situation feels familiar, but heavier than before. Nicki has faced controversy at different points in her career, yet many say this moment feels more consequential, as though she's navigating territory that could have lasting effects on how she's perceived moving forward. What's especially concerning to some observers is the apparent lack of guidance around her. From the outside, it can feel like the spotlight is amplifying every move without anyone stepping in to help redirect the focus. Fans who remember her as a highly controlled and strategic artist are now questioning whether that same clarity is present. As a result, the public conversation around Nicki is shifted. Discussions that once centered on her music, influence, and achievements are now dominated by debates over controversy, politics, and online disputes. For an artist who once defined cultural moments through her work, being defined by reaction instead of creation has been difficult for many supporters to watch. This has led people to wonder where her priorities currently lie. Some ask whether she's still focused on her art, while others believe the attention itself has become part of the moment. In either case, trending for conflict rather than creativity has introduced new risks in an industry that moves quickly and rarely waits for anyone. There are also different interpretations behind the scenes. Some believe Nicki may have distanced herself from voices that once helped ground her, while others think she's consciously leaning into controversy to maintain relevance. Regardless of the motive, the prevailing feeling among fans is uncertainty.
So guys, I'm with my favorite president, the best president of all time.
And I'm with the queen of rap.
For many, the emotional weight comes from seeing an artist who once represented confidence and self-determination now struggling to maintain that connection with her audience. The distance between who Nicki was to her supporters and how she's currently perceived continues to grow. As the narrative unfolds, some fans worry that allowing controversy to overshadow her music could ultimately impact her legacy. New artists continue to emerge and attention shifts quickly. Whether Nicki can redirect the conversation back to her art remains an open question, but many believe the outcome of this moment could shape how her career is remembered. For many observers, it's difficult to watch someone who once commanded every moment now seem overwhelmed by it. Nicki Minaj built her career on presence and control, yet lately it feels as though the attention surrounding her is dictating the narrative rather than amplifying her work. This has led to a growing question among fans and critics alike. Can Nicki recalibrate and move forward, or is she committed so fully to this direction that it's hard to step back? Right now, many of her public moves are being interpreted as reactive rather than intentional, which contrasts sharply with the confidence and precision that once defined her rise. Still, not everyone has given up hope. A significant portion of her audience believes the artist they admired, the focused, fearless, and self-assured performer, is still there. They're waiting for a moment where the noise fades and the music, creativity, and conviction return to the forefront. When Nicki's fully locked in, few deny her ability to dominate the conversation on her own terms. At the same time, the industry continues to move quickly. Momentum shifts, attention changes, and relevance isn't guaranteed by past success alone. Some fans worry that remaining entangled in controversy, especially outside her core strengths, could widen the gap between her and the people who once felt most connected to her work. Right now, she appears to be at a turning point. One path involves continuing to engage with the surrounding chaos. The other means stepping back, reassessing, and reclaiming the elements that originally built her legacy. The outcome of that choice could significantly shape how this chapter of her career is remembered. What's clear is that Nicki still holds the ability to redirect the story. A renewed focus on artistry, intention, and message could shift public perception quickly. Audiences are often willing to embrace a comeback when it feels authentic and grounded. But if the turbulence continues to define her image, the risk isn't just another difficult moment. It's the possibility that her influence becomes overshadowed by conflict rather than creation. For many watching, that would be the most disappointing outcome of all. Not the loss of success, but the loss of focus that once made her undeniable. At this point, Nicki Minaj's story feels like it's standing at a crossroads. Public opinion is divided, fans are split, and nearly every move she makes becomes a headline within minutes. Not long ago, she was widely seen as untouchable, an artist whose confidence, influence, and impact were undeniable. Now, many feel she's navigating uncertain ground, with audiences watching closely to see how this chapter unfolds. The music world has always been drawn to dramatic moments, but it also embraces reinvention and comebacks. Supporters believe that if Nicki were to refocus on her craft and step away from the surrounding noise, she could easily remind people why she earned her status in the first place. Beneath the controversy, many still see the talent, drive, and voice that shaped her legacy. At the same time, others worry that remaining caught up in ongoing debate makes it harder to shift the narrative back to her music. The industry evolves quickly, and attention moves on just as fast. While Nicki has the experience and platform to redefine her direction, doing so may require a deliberate pause and a clear sense of purpose. Some commentators have tried to explain her recent choices through personal context, while others believe the attention itself has become part of the equation. Still others argue it may not be about politics at all, but visibility in an era where staying relevant often means staying talked about. Whatever the motivation, it's clear that these decisions have tested the relationship between Nicki and a portion of her audience. Fan reactions reflect that tension. Online comments range from disappointment to cautious optimism, with some expressing concern about whether she could reverse course in the future and reconnect with the people who supported her for years. Those reactions highlight just how emotionally invested her audience remains, even amid uncertainty. At the same time, there's a growing sense that this moment represents more than just a temporary wave of criticism. For many observers, it feels like a crossroads where momentum, messaging, and identity intersect. Nicki has navigated controversy before, but this chapter feels different because it touches not just her public persona, but how her long-term supporters interpret her intentions. The balance between personal expression and public perception has rarely felt this delicate. Some fans believe the scrutiny itself has become part of the pressure shaping her responses. In an environment where every post sparks debate and every appearance is dissected, reacting in real time can sometimes blur the line between intention and impulse. What once felt like confident self-assertion now risks being perceived as defensive, even when the underlying motivation may be self-preservation rather than provocation. There's also the question of legacy quietly hovering in the background. Nicki Minaj built her influence through artistry, reinvention, and a strong sense of control over her image. When controversy begins to dominate the conversation, it can overshadow those foundations, shifting focus away from creative output and toward interpretation. For an artist of her stature, that shift carries weight because it influences how future chapters are framed, not just how current ones are debated. Still, many believe this period doesn't have to define her trajectory. Artists with longevity often experience moments where the narrative slips out of alignment before snapping back into focus. Whether through silence, reflection, or a renewed emphasis on music, Nicki retains the ability to redirect attention and remind audiences why her voice mattered in the first place. The question isn't whether she can do it, but how and on whose terms. So the question remains open. Is this a genuine transformation, a temporary phase, or a calculated rebrand? Are the criticisms raised by figures like Samuel Jackson a warning she should consider, or simply part of a broader conversation she's chosen to engage with? Or is this moment shaped more by personal pressures, changing priorities, or the demands of staying visible in a constantly shifting cultural landscape? That's where the story stands now, unfinished and still unfolding. What happens next will depend on the choices Nicki Minaj makes moving forward, and whether she decides to lean further into the controversy or redirect attention back to the work that built her career. Share your thoughts below, because this conversation isn't over yet. And if you want to stay updated as the story develops, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There's clearly more ahead.